Tonight, fuel prices, the share market and food shortages as the world stares down a historic oil crisis.
Breaking news, an Air Canada plane rips apart in a horror collision on a New York runway.
Developing now, police investigating a body found at a Northside home.
Exclusive details on an e-mobility ban for Queenslanders.
Michelle Bullock snaps up her fourth home the day before she hiked rates.
Plus hail, flooding and wild storms, why your insurance premium keeps rising.
This is 9 News Queensland with Melissa Downs and Joel Dry.
Good evening. The fuel crisis gripping the globe is worse than the devastating oil shocks of the 1970s, with fears prices will surge even higher at the bowser, and there could be food shortages if the war in the Middle East escalates.
The Prime Minister is tonight working on urgent deals with Singapore and other trade partners to secure supplies and keep the fuel flowing.
Foreign oil arriving to Australian soil. A long journey from the Middle East to Sydney ending today. We'll need more.
We're having a series of meetings as well with our international partners, making sure that we can secure supply.
Australia and Singapore agreeing to accelerate the flow of gas and oil between the two countries, with extra shipments from Canada and the United States promised. Still tonight, the government and business groups are promoting working from home or public transport as a way of easing petrol pressures.
This is a time where we really do need to adopt a Team Australia moment.
We've got many stations with no petrol, zero. That's what we've got, big zero.
In Canberra, the president of the International Energy Agency warned the current crisis is twice that of the 1970s, but this time Australia has solar on its side.
10 years ago, solar was a romantic story. But now it is a business.
Which means we are less exposed to gas prices, and that is in no small part due to home batteries, Mr Speaker.
Fresh food may be the next frontier.
When you go to the supermarket shelves, you're either going to notice that your favourite products may not be there. There might be temporary stock outages.
Coles and Woolworths say there's been no disruption to availability. Some prices have changed. The National Food Council meeting in Canberra today.
And we know that our food system does not operate in isolation, and it's not immune to those external challenges that we're seeing.
Anything that needs cold chain transport, typically you're thinking of fresh produce, then you're thinking of meat, seafood, and then you've got to go to your dairies.
The states are having their own conversation about food and fuel, but so far there is no appetite to force people to work from home.
We've seen work from home mandates during the course of COVID, and it didn't end well for a lot of people.
We do know and we do understand that Australians are feeling the pressure around the kitchen table and especially at the petrol bowser.
As fuel costs go up, high-end European cars and luxury goods are set for a price drop as Australia nears a landmark trade deal with the EU. Political editor Charles Croucher has the details.
There is, at last, some good news on the foreign front. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has touched down in Australia tonight and is set to sign a long-awaited free trade agreement with Australia tomorrow. It promises to bring down the price of some European goods, including cars, and will serve up an extra 500 million potential customers for our producers in the long run. Short-term, the government will look for more energy deals, potentially leveraging our gas for fuel as the war drags into a fourth week.
To some breaking news now with state political reporter Reese D'Alessandro. Reese, you have exclusive details on a state government e-bike ban.
Yeah, Melissa, the government's response to the state's e-mobility inquiry will be formally released tomorrow, but I can reveal tonight one of its key recommendations, that e-bikes and e-scooters be banned for under 16s, has been approved by Cabinet with legislation to be introduced this sitting week. This is a significant development and it comes less than a month after the inquiry's final report was handed to government, a report that contains a further 27 recommendations, including a 10 km/h footpath speed limit, new powers for police to seize illegal devices on a first offence, and new laws allowing for parents to be pursued for the breaches of their children. The The inquiry was set up in May last year amid escalating concerns over injuries, fatalities and battery fires. Joel and Melissa, there'll be a lot more to unpack in the full formal response that is coming tomorrow. But confirmation tonight, if you're under 16 in Queensland, you'll be banned from riding e-bikes and e-scooters.
Yeah, big change. Reece, thank you. Police are investigating a suspicious death after a man's body was found at a Strathpine home this morning. Pat Heaney is at the crime scene. Pat, what is the latest from police?
Well, this is now a homicide investigation, Melissa. Police want to discover why this man died, but at this stage, they're stumped. They've told us earlier today that ambulance services arrived here just before 1 o'clock this morning, but when they arrived, they couldn't help this 36-year-old man. They called police, and from there, they haven't been able to discover the cause of his death. Now, police have told us that there are some minor injuries, scratches and bruises, but basically surface injuries that would not have caused this man to die. So they have now launched this investigation. They tell us there was 2 people home at the time. They've interviewed both those people, but their stories don't line up. We have spoken to neighbours today who tell us that they've actually seen fights break out on the front lawn of this home in recent weeks, and that they heard loud music playing well into the evening yesterday, but nothing that would be sounds of an altercation. Now, police did give a press conference this afternoon. Here's what they had to say.
We don't have an understanding about what caused this death, and we are currently making those investigations to try and establish what has occurred and what led to this death.
Now, authorities are waiting on the results of an autopsy, which will happen tomorrow, and they are asking for anyone who was in the area last night to come forward. Joel?
Pat, thank you for that update. The front of an Air Canada plane has been all but ripped off after a collision with a ground vehicle as it landed in New York. Tonight, as the emergency unfolds at LaGuardia, multiple people are believed to be injured.
Close to midnight and horror on a wet runway at New York's LaGuardia Airport. An Air Canada jet, its cockpit ripped off after a collision moments after it landed. It's believed the aircraft and a Port Authority vehicle came together.
Jet 646, I see you collide with a vehicle there, just hold position. I know you can't move. The vehicle's there responding to you now.
First reports suggest at least 2 people have been seriously injured. It's unclear whether they were in the cockpit of the plane or on board the truck. Video posted to social media shows passengers around the aircraft. A witness explains what happened as people tried to evacuate.
It was on the ground on the nose. As you're deplaning, it just lifted in the air.
The plane, with at least 80 on board, had just arrived from Montreal.
The aircraft would have been cleared to land. It doesn't appear to be bad weather, and it'll go down to human factors.
The US Federal Aviation Administration has issued a ground stop for all planes at the airport. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
A 17-year-old girl charged over a shooting at North Lakes has been ordered to stand trial. The girl and 3 others stand accused of attempting to murder a 42-year-old man last March before fleeing the scene. She remains on bail and will face trial at a later date.
A man who was high on a cocktail of drugs when he mowed down a Northgate grandfather will walk free from prison in a year's time. Ryan Hassel claimed he was adjusting the radio when his car mounted a footpath and struck Mark Trestrail on his morning walk. The 73-year-old died at the scene, metres from his family home.
Because of his choices, my old man's not here with me. We came here to, see justice. Some form of justice, and we feel quite let down.
Hassel was sentenced to 5 years behind bars, suspended after 12 months. His licence was also disqualified. ABC staff are set to walk off the job for the first time in 2 decades. 60% of employees voted against the offer of a 10% pay rise over 3 years and a $1,000 signing bonus. The 24-hour strike will begin 11 a.m. Wednesday and could disrupt some live radio and television programs.
Iran and America are tonight trading new ominous threats after Donald Trump warned he would take out the regime's power plants if it doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours. Iran's military declaring it's ready to completely close the critical shipping lane.
A motorcade to the Gulf in green as the clock ticks down on Donald Trump's deadline.
Sometimes you have to escalate to de-escalate.
Tehran hasn't taken kindly to the US president's ultimatum, the regime threatening to intensify strikes and indefinitely close the crucial waterway if America makes good on its promise to obliterate Iranian power plants.
They're stopping a maritime international route, energy route, and trying to blackmail the entire world.
The president is not messing around. He stands, unlike his predecessors, he stands by his red lines.
Iran's foreign minister hitting back. No Iranian will be swayed by more threats. Try respect.
With Iran's chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, America's search for a solution is growing increasingly desperate.
We are facing a decision point for the president because Israel would follow the president's decision.
Israel and the United States are working together for the entire world. And it's time to see the leaders of the rest of the countries join up.
22 countries, including Australia, will, said the NATO chief today. Mark Rutte talking down the US president's previous comments, which labelled the nations cowards.
And I understand the president's frustration that it takes some time. But again, I also ask for some understanding.
The conflict is now entering its 24th day and the toll is growing. At least 2,000 people have been killed, most in Iran, and more than 1 million have been displaced, many of those in Lebanon. And there, Israeli forces have expanded strikes in the country's south, targeting bridges. Action, the IDF says, is against the Iran-backed Hezbollah group. The Lebanese president says it's a potential precursor to a ground invasion. In Washington, D.C., Lauren Tamazi, 9 News.
Protesters launched fireworks and petrol bombs at the office of the Albanian Prime Minister amid corruption allegations. Riot police used a water cannon on crowds as violence erupted on the streets of the capital, Tirana, with demonstrators demanding the resignation of the government. Thousands of homes have been evacuated as Hawaii faces its worst flooding in 2 decades. Parts of the state have been lashed with up to 1,300 millimetres of rain in the past 10 days. Residents on the island of Oahu were told to leave now, with officials declaring a dam failure imminent.
1 man is dead and 5 people, including 2 children, are in hospital tonight with serious injuries after a high-speed collision in Sydney's west. Police are investigating the actions of the driver and whether seatbelts were being worn.
A car horn, the rev of an engine and screeching tyres. And the impact was fatal and too confronting to show.
Heard the bang and I come running around and there was all smoke and that coming from the car.
It was 5:20 yesterday afternoon on Stewart Road at Darrick when the Outlander came racing down before slamming through a fence and into a tree. Inside, 6 people, a female driver, 3 men and 2 toddlers.
When I opened the front door, all the adults that were in the car were in the front seat. It was a mess. It was mangled everywhere.
Michael Radcliffe lives next door and was one of several neighbours who ran to help. His first instinct, to save the children.
He was just screaming the whole time and I think he had glass in his eye because he was covered in glass when I pulled him out the front seat.
1 man was responsive, another had to be ejected, but the third died on impact.
I was just looking at him and, he was just long gone, there wasn't anything that could have been done to help him.
5 survivors, all critical, taken to hospital where they remain tonight. Among them, the female driver who's also being questioned by police. It's alleged that of the 6 people inside that vehicle, only 1 of the toddlers was found to be wearing a seatbelt. Another crucial element in this police investigation, the speed at which that driver was going at in the moments before the crash. Another question, how 6 people fit in a 5-seater. And with Easter around the corner, a fresh warning to take extra care on our roads.
Seatbelts are there to save your lives. We need people to use them.
Massilia Eiley, 9 News.
Reserve Bank Governor Michelle Bullock has disclosed she and her husband bought their 3rd investment property the day before interest rates were raised last month. Finance editor Chris Kohler.
The house in Yamba, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms with a wine room, was bought on February 3 for $2.05 million. And on February 4, Australia's cash rate was lifted. Settlement happened 6 weeks later, Michelle Bullock receiving the keys on March 17. And on March 18, the cash rate was lifted again. So while the RBA governor was in the boardroom discussing both of this year's cash rate rises, her own property portfolio was growing, presumably with at least a bit more mortgage debt. The purchase was disclosed to the public records last week and does not break any rules. But amid a housing and cost of living crisis, many Australians are learning that the governor and her husband now have 3 investment properties, Yamba, Chiswick and Drummoyne, along with a primary residence also in Sydney, and that the governor earned $1.26 million last financial year.
A low-pressure system is right now forming off our coast. Let's bring in weather expert Garry Youngberry. Gaz, does it pose any threat to Queenslanders?
Well, Melissa, we do have a low-pressure system in the Coral Sea. It's expected to track and head southwards and run parallel with the coast throughout the week. In fact, when it moves south of the border, it looks like it'll intensify off the New South Wales coast. So no threat to land, but certainly an increase in swell, which would be welcome news for board riders. We'll see some bigger waves on the Gold Coast point breaks from tomorrow and a strong wind warning for our coastal fringe. But there is some good news weather-wise, some warmer temperatures and even a couple of sunny days this week. All the details, your forecast, Joel, not too far away.
Catch you then, Gaz. Thank you. It's a shocking revelation. Queensland children are worse off than those in other states. A new report finding local families are increasingly facing food and housing insecurity, prompting frontline services to beg for a new strategy to help those in need.
Forking out more for food, fuel and a place to call home. It's a cost of living crisis and Logan mum Kiana Rose is caught in the crossfire.
I'm currently renting along with my partner who is the father of my child. Yeah, it's hard.
Returning to work to help cover the growing cost of her family's rent.
Obviously now petrol's through the roof. It feels like a never-ending challenge. That we can never get on top of.
We know that raising kids in Queensland is harder than it should be.
A new report, Raising Queensland, released today, finding 60% of parents are struggling with day-to-day costs. And that's not all.
Concerningly, almost 1 in 7 Queensland families have actually run out of food at some point in the last year. And close to a quarter of the children in our state aren't hitting their developmental milestones by the time they reach school.
With more than 10,500 families stuck on the social housing wait list.
The other groups that are missing out are many children and young people in rural, regional and remote areas. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children also are disproportionately represented.
The Queensland Council of Social Service now calling on the state to put in place a family strategy, one that involves the whole government.
To make sure that kids across Queensland have access to the things they deserve.
We have a clear-cut instruction to our principals and business managers to ensure that students don't miss out just because of their financial circumstances.
Lily Greer, 9 News.
Chased down, the dog squad rounds up a gang of car thieves after a wild pursuit.
NRL great Wendell Saylor faces court over a clash with police.
Andrew breaks cover after being banished from his royal home.
And after sport, you can't park there, the underground vintage finds. Wendell Saylor is hoping he can avoid punishment over incidents on 2 drunken nights out in Sydney and in Wollongong on mental health grounds. The former league and union star appeared in court today, indicating he was seeking to have 3 charges dismissed. The magistrate will decide the case on Friday.
An alleged car thief has been given a painful lesson, taken down by a police dog while trying to run from officers. 2 other teenagers have been charged over a wild chase across Melbourne's southeast.
Surrounded and told to surrender. A boy pulled to the ground by a police dog, unleashed and ready to bite, its tail wagging as it locked on to the suspected thief.
All I heard was, stop running, get to the ground.
He was one of 3 16 and 17-year-olds arrested on this Narre Warren Street at 2:30 this morning, an hour after an accused gang struck in Ashwood. A couple barricaded themselves in their bedroom as the intruders spent almost 10 minutes inside, allegedly stealing keys but failing to keep the dog quiet.
You just keep thinking what I need to do, but you cannot find a solution because you are not prepared for anything and you are in your bedroom.
Police say the stolen Audi was clocked travelling up to 190 kilometres an hour on the Monash freeway until it lost a wheel. The suspects running down streets and hiding under trampolines, but their time was up.
Their presence and their numbers was amazing. The dog squad, I think they had 2 or 3 sets of dog squad up the street today.
The youngest boy was taken to Dandenong Hospital to be treated for his dog bite wound. Residents say they hope the violent arrest was a wake-up call amid concerns the justice system isn't tough enough.
The police try, but, you know, they're bashing their heads against a brick wall.
Jack Ward, 9 News.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been seen for the first time since his arrest. The former Prince was photographed walking his dogs near his new home, Marsh Farm, on the King's Sandringham estate. The 66-year-old was taken into custody on suspicion of misconduct in public office on his birthday last month.
Queensland's unpredictable weather. Tonight, new satellite technology calculating the risk to your home and how insurers respond. A little later, the southeast suburbs hardest hit and why your insurance premiums keep rising.
Crime crackdown. Dozens arrested in a major police operation.
A sinister move in the middle of the night. Ambulances set aflame.
Buried in the blink of an eye, the moment a car is swallowed by a landslide.
And see you in court. Kyle's $100 million contract battle takes a turn. A new police unit in the state's far north is cracking down on property offences. The mix of detectives and plainclothed officers targeting break-and-enters and stolen vehicles. 52 people have been charged in the past month alone. More than half of those are youths.
Explosions have rung out in London's north after 4 ambulances were set on fire. Police have labelled the attack against a Jewish volunteer service as an anti-Semitic hate crime.
Walking calmly into the sight of CCTV, 3 hooded figures. And it doesn't take long for their intentions to become clear as flames start to leap from behind an ambulance.
4 ambulances vlak.
Nearby residents filming the flames as they take hold and spread. Explosions ringing out. The apparent target, a Jewish volunteer rescue organisation. Hatzola Northwest confirming 4 of its ambulances were set alight, saying there are concerns that this is a direct attack on the Jewish community. The incident occurring in the neighbourhood of Golders Green, located in London's north, the area known for its large Jewish community. The Metropolitan Police now hunting the 3 suspects and treating the incident as an anti-Semitic hate crime, adding, "We will be engaging with faith leaders and carrying out additional patrols." Shelley Doyle, 9 News.
The US President has ordered ICE agents to US airports as a fight over Homeland Security funding continues. The stoush has meant long queues and understaffing at airports across the country, with hundreds of thousands of staff working without pay. Donald Trump says the immigration officers will help for as long as it takes. Terrifying dashcam footage has captured the moment a car was struck by a landslide in Turkey. The vehicle was travelling along a coastal road in the country's south when rocks suddenly broke off the cliff face. The driver is being treated for minor injuries.
The family of slain security guard Aidan Becker have spoken for the first time after the 22-year-old was killed at a Melbourne train station trying to protect a young boy from being robbed. Speaking in a documentary, the Beckers are hoping for change and that no other family will have to lose a child in this way.
I would have him back. I would have him home. Now he's not coming home no more because he did the right thing.
I think even knowing the awful outcome, I don't think he would hesitate in any way to do it again.
4 teenagers have been charged with Aidan's murder and will face court in the coming weeks.
A new twist tonight in the Kyle and Jackie O saga, with Carl Sandilands alleging ARN encouraged the aggressive tone that led to his contract being terminated. Madison Scott has more.
Carl Sandilands is claiming his termination is invalid because there was no act of misconduct or breach of his contract, essentially arguing that the fateful on-air feud between him and Jackie O last month was all above board. He filed the lawsuit against the KISS licence holder in the federal court on Friday. Nine newspaper, the Australian Financial Review, has obtained those court papers, reporting Sandilands is arguing ARN expressly desired the character he played for more than 2 decades and enshrined it in his contract. The filing reading the radio show's material was deliberately provocative, saying Mr Sandilands generally performed the role of the dominant and abrasive personality who was deliberately outrageous and often offensive, while Miss Henderson played a moderating role as a warmer and more emotionally attuned character. ARN has said today it disputes the claims and intends to defend the proceedings. Kyle was only 14 months into his $100 million 10-year contract and will be basically demanding a payout. ARN says it's unable to estimate the outcome or financial impact.
Investor whiplash as our share market nears correction territory. Next, Kriukeli's finance reports.
The Beckhams and the Royals roasted in the debut of the British Saturday Night Live.
The weather extremes hitting our suburbs and your home insurance premium.
And tackling Mount Kosciuszko 25 years after being told he'd never walk again.
Another chaotic session on global markets as Donald Trump's ultimatum causes anxiety for investors. Finance editor Kriukelis again.
3 weeks ago, the ASX was sitting at an all-time high. But what a difference a war can make, especially one that threatens oil supply. Today, the ASX gave up another 62 points, now down more than 9% from that record high. And a 10% fall would make it a technical correction, so investors will be keeping an eye out for that this week. The good news is resilience was clearly visible today. The opening fall halved throughout the day as investors bought back into blue chip stocks. The price of gold is also in focus. Last week will go down as the worst for gold since 1983. That price had rocketed in the last year and early this year, but now it's losing its footing as bond yields rise. Finally, the Australian dollar is sitting below 70 US cents, is also buying 60 euro cents and 52 British pence.
Taking a look at fuel in the southeast now, the average price for unleaded petrol in Brisbane is $2.42. Diesel is $2.94. The average on the Gold Coast is $2.41.
Sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live has debuted in the UK, mocking all things British, from the royal family to the Beckhams. The spin-off from the long-running American program even piqued the interest of the US president.
Live from London!
Saturday Night Live at its British best.
So, why do a UK version of SNL? Well, like so many large-scale American operations these days, no one really knows why.
Its first ever host, an American.
If this is SNL UK, then why are you the first host?
How do I put this politely? None of you would do it?
Sir Keir Starmer's dealings with Donald Trump open slather.
Oh, golly. Well, what if Donald shouts at me? What do I say, Lammy? Hello? Ah! I know how badly you want to start World War III, and that's great. You should absolutely do that. But we can't be a part of it.
The US president sharing the sketch on his Truth Social page. On the Iran war...
How many? 2, but 1's dead now.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor mocked too.
So, if you're watching, Andrew, hello! You're not going to like this next bit.
The former prince, the butt of jokes too rude to broadcast on 9 News. There was an impersonation of Princess Diana.
Diana, Princess of Wales.
And Britain's most famous natural historian.
Hello, I'm David Attenborough. And it can't be long now.
Ladies and gentlemen, SNL UK has arrived. In London, Hannah Sinclair, 9 News.
Two thrill seekers got more than they bargained for when the Gold Coast's famed slingshot ride stopped mid-air. Last night's malfunction left the holidaymakers swinging for 15 minutes before being lowered back down. It's unclear what caused the stoppage, but the ride was back in action today.
A Queensland man who was once told he would never walk again is tackling Mount Kosciuszko for a good cause. Nick Hanley broke his neck playing rugby 25 years ago. He spent months in rehab, regaining the ability to walk, and now he's taking on the 10 Peaks Challenge, raising money for disability housing provider Youngberry.
What we're having to go through is a small thing to pay for what hopefully will be a massive amount of fundraising.
That money will go towards accommodation specifically designed for young people living with disabilities, like this brand new building in Newmarket that opened today.
An injury update on the Broncos captain. Will he play in the Battle of Brisbane? No more Test cricket for the Gabba. Officials explain why we've been wiped off the summer schedule.
At the end of sport, an early treat for whale watchers.
And a few showers and even isolated thunderstorms across parts of the southeast today, although nothing in Brisbane's rain gauge. We do have a strong wind warning for the coast tomorrow. All the details in your full forecast.
The Gabba may never host another Test match. Cricket Australia refusing to commit to returning to the ground before Brisbane's new Olympic Stadium is built. The ground has been snubbed. For the first time in 50 years, there'll be no Test played there this summer.
The launch of the summer cricket schedule offering up a feast of matches, but the Gabba's been starved of action.
We lost the first Test of the summer. That was pretty gutting as a Queenslander, and then you lose the Test completely. So sort of tells you that we need to change something.
The first time in 50 years a Test match won't be played in Brisbane.
At the stage that we were working with governments and state associations on the future Test schedule, there was just a lot of uncertainty around the Gabba at that particular stage.
Delays in Olympic decision-making blamed for snubbing the Gabba, where Australia has only lost 2 Tests since 1988.
Brisbane people love coming out to the Gabba Test. Feels like it's always a sellout, it's always a good game of cricket.
Officials non-committal when asked if Test matches will return to the Gabba before Victoria Park's completion.
All of the future Test schedules will get worked through in time. We're very fortunate in Australia to have some wonderful stadia. Being able to take the game to fans across the country is important, and Brisbane and South East Queensland and Queensland more broadly is certainly part of that.
The condensed summer schedule includes 15 Tests, 4 of those coming in just 31 days against New Zealand. An arduous assignment for Australia's ageing bowling attack.
Obviously, I haven't had the run that I would have liked, and then you think about someone like Starkey who's consistently bowling 140 plus. It's hard to fathom, really.
It will highlight the importance of high-quality planning, management of players, players understanding what they prioritise, and that won't please everybody, but that's part of the challenge of modern-day cricket.
Mackay to host Queensland's only Test, a mid-year fixture against Bangladesh, while 2 games of the T20 series with England will be played on the Gold Coast and Brisbane.
Barmy Army's going to turn up and the Aussies going to wipe them.
Jacob Funk, 9 News.
The Mind Games are underway ahead of the NRL's Battle of Brisbane on Friday night. For more, Ben Dobbin joins us from the newsroom. Dobbo, there's some doubts over team selection for the Broncos and Dolphins.
Yeah, good evening, Aislin. There certainly is. And the big news coming out of Red Hill is Payne Haas is highly unlikely to play this Friday night. Haas hurt his shoulder in that victory over Melbourne. It's an AC joint. He'll make the decision tomorrow. The club are giving him all the time possible, but he is highly unlikely to play. Adam Reynolds, on the other hand, will be named and he's on track. He'll train tomorrow and he's on track to take his place as the captain and halfback of this side. Now, moving to the Dolphins, Francis Molo will be named and will play after coming back from suspension, and former Broncos Tom Flegler will train tomorrow and is expected to be named as well. 4 more sleeps, Ashton. Can't wait for the next instalment of the Battle of Brisbane.
A few moving parts there, Dubbo. Thanks for that update. Pressure has eased on Todd Payten following a breakthrough win, but it may only be a brief reprieve as his Cowboys brace to face a resurgent Storm side on Saturday. Re-signing a rising star, another priority for North Queensland this week.
His fingerprints all over the Cowboys' first win of the season. Jackson Purdue adding to his value amid contract negotiations to keep him in North Queensland on a long-term deal.
Absolutely, we're trying. So I think, well, I know things are pretty positive. I don't know where he's going to get to, but he's highly talented and hope he stays for a long time.
Growing uncertainty over Todd Payten's future eased somewhat by the Cowboys' 30-16 victory over the Titans.
When you're down on confidence and getting kicked around a little bit, just ticking that first win off is always a challenge, and we've done that now and we can move forward. We've got heaps of improvement left in us.
We trained like it was a finals game, to be honest. The intensity, both sides going at it.
Cowboys centre Tom Chester, a little too combative, set to cop a one-game suspension for his high shot. More difficult to disguise what's gone wrong for the Titans. Still winless under new coach Josh Hannay.
I just thought we made it far too hard for ourselves. It was really frustrating, you know. I think we made 104 more tackles, which is equivalent to like 17 sets of 6. There's a lot of effort going in. There really is, and if there wasn't, we would have got beat by 60 tonight in those conditions.
Jaden Campbell's impressive comeback array of positivity for Gold Coast, scoring 2 tries in his return from a hamstring strain. Adam Jackson, 9 News.
Tom Trbojevic is urging Manly fans to cheer rather than boo Daly Cherry Evans when he returns to Brookvale Oval on Thursday night for the Roosters clash with the Seagulls.
I think they should cheer him, you know, what he's done for this club, and you know, he's played 350 odd games for us, and he's been, you know, one of our all-time greats. So look, I'm not going to tell the fans what to do, but I'd like to think they're going to cheer him.
Trbojevic is also calling for critics to back off his brother Jake amid talk he should retire. The Socceroos have unveiled their kit for this year's World Cup in North America. The uniform, which is predominantly gold, is a nod to our 2006 campaign, where the Socceroos made it through to the round of 16.
No, I love it. Feels good, looks good. Little throwback to the 06 World Cup. But yeah, can't wait to chuck it on and get out there.
The new look will actually be debuted in Sydney on Friday night when the Socceroos take on Cameroon. Manchester City has won the English League Cup title with a 2-0 win in the final against Arsenal. Nico O'Reilly found the back of the net twice in 4 minutes to seal the win. Tottenham's bid to avoid relegation from the Premier League took another blow, beaten 3-0 by fellow battlers Nottingham Forest. Spurs now drop to 17th on the table, just 1 place above the drop zone. 179 seconds is all it's taken for Queensland boxer Tara Moana Jr. to prove he is the real deal in the United States. The Olympian landing a devastating blow to record his 10th knockout victory in as many fights. Incredibly, 8 of those wins have come in the first round. Very impressive, and cannot wait for that Battle of Brisbane on Friday night. It always delivers.
It's going to be a very hot ticket to get a hold of. Good luck with that. Thank you, Aislin. A buried stash of weapons and a vintage car has been uncovered in a backyard south of Adelaide. Police searching a home in Hayborough near Victor Harbour, discovering the stolen 1952 Ford Anglia Tourer. It was found buried alongside illegal ammunition and a high-powered laser, weapons and drugs. A 38-year-old man has been arrested and charged. And an early treat for whale watchers could be on the way north. A humpback spotted breaching off Sydney's coast this morning, more than a month earlier than usual. More than 40,000 whales are expected to take to the Humpback Highway between May and November this year.
Hail, flooding and wild storms tonight. The southeast suburbs hardest hit by Queensland's unpredictable weather. Just ahead, why your insurance premium keeps rising and how new satellite technology is helping to calculate the risk to your home.
But first, Garry is back with a check on the weather. Gaz, where did the rain fall today?
Oh, Joel, we had some quite heavy falls in the Gold Coast hinterland, some lighter falls out around Gatton and up on the Sunshine Coast. We'll check some of the rainfall figures and a look at the radar, how the day unfolded with your full forecast next.
From flash flooding to destructive hailstorms and devastating bushfires, Australians are becoming used to wild weather all year round. And it's taking its toll. NRMA Insurance says the weather accounts for more than half of all home claims.
In a country of extremes, you can never be too prepared. In the past 5 years, NRMA Insurance received almost 300,000 wild weather claims. That's 1 every 9 minutes, with storms and hail causing the most damage. The area battered the most, Gold Coast, followed by Logan Bow Desert, Brisbane East, Sunshine Coast and Moreton Bay North. Inside the insurer's command centre in Sydney, satellite mapping technology allows NRMA to calculate risk and work out which homeowners need the greatest response. This map shows Bundaberg before and after the recent floods.
The darker the blue, the more deeper the inundation. And we actually get all of the data behind the scenes to identify how many millimetres of water is sitting actually above the ground at that particular point in time.
The technology used to pinpoint damage during the recent Victoria bushfires.
That helps us understand what number of builders, what number of assessors, what equipment we need to mobilise quickly.
And tracking Cyclone Narelle in far north Queensland. NRMA says the tool, which has replaced drones, is not used to set premiums.
They operate in all weather. They can see through fog and rain and clouds.
Along with the increase in wild weather, home insurance costs are soaring. Average premiums up 51% in the past 5 years.
Over that same period of time, the cost of building supplies has gone up more than 40%. The cost of reinsurance has gone up more than 20 to 30%. Unfortunately, insurance premiums are not immune to inflation.
The Insurance Council taking aim at government taxes, which form part of your premium.
We need to have tax reform. People who do the right thing and take out insurance should not be paying stamp duty year on year, as well as emergency service levies.
Despite last summer being the wettest in almost a decade, it was the quietest when it came to wild weather claims in 10 years.
It comes down to the location of the severe weather event, so the major capital cities avoided the worst impacts.
And we're in for an autumn of extremes.
We do expect wetter than normal conditions across the northern parts, whereas in the southern parts, warmer and drier conditions will lead to elevated bushfire conditions.
Sophie Walsh, 9 News.
It is time now for your full weather forecast. Gaz, what have we got in store for the week?
Well, a little bit windy tomorrow, Joel, particularly along the coastal fringe. There is a strong wind warning, those southeasterlies, and they'll push in a few showers. Most of them will be along the coastal fringe. We had a few pop up today, even a couple of isolated storms, and they started this morning as well. Have a look at the radar. This is from very early this morning. A few rumbles just off the Gold Coast. Heaviest falls were Upper Springbrook, 51 millimetres till 9 this morning, and then another 17 millimetres today. Most of the suburbs in that 1 to 5 millimetre range, while not a drop in Brisbane's rain gauge today. Now look at temperatures, and they range from a low of 16 in Oakey, Warwick, Beaudesert and Ipswich to a maximum of 31 in Gatton and Ipswich. Most of the suburbs and coast recorded high 20s. Brisbane 29, the Golden Sunshine Coast 28, Toowoomba 26 degrees. The weather map tomorrow, ex-tropical cyclone Narelle should redevelop off the Kimberley coast with heavy rain and winds, showers and storms for the remaining northern tropics in the monsoon, while a weak front will bring showers to WA's south, Tassie and Victoria, and gusty showers will continue for the east coast. For the capitals, Perth sunny and 30, Adelaide 31, Melbourne and Sydney a shower or two. Hobart rain tomorrow, Darwin showers, Alice Springs sunny and 33 degrees. Queensland a shower or two for Cairns, then sunny and warm for Townsville and Mackay. Partly cloudy around Rocky and Gladstone with low 30s. Bundaberg an early shower, then clearing. Maryborough and Gympie a shower or two. Sunny and 35 degrees for Mount Isa and Longreach, 31 in Roma. Here in the southeast, partly cloudy, a high chance of showers for the coastal fringe, a medium chance elsewhere. The possibility of a thunderstorm near the coast late morning and some gusty southerly winds. Temperatures tomorrow reaching close to 30 degrees. Moreton Bay, the strong wind warning. The southerlies up to 30 knots. The seas 1.5 metres on the bay and 2 metres offshore. Brisbane a shower or two, gusty southeasterlies a top of 29. Your outlook possible shower Wednesday. Partly cloudy and warm Thursday and Friday. mostly fine weekend with daytime temperatures back in the high 20s. Ipswich, partly cloudy Wednesday, sunny Thursday, cloud increasing Friday afternoon, mostly sunny and warm weekend. Gold Coast, Wednesday a shower or two. Thursday and Friday partly cloudy with low 30s, partly cloudy weekend and high 20s. Sunshine Coast a shower or two Wednesday, partly cloudy Thursday, sunny and warm Friday, and a partly cloudy weekend, just a chance of a shower or two developing on Sunday. So a couple of showers today, again tomorrow, but then looking much better from the middle of the week and some warm days this week as well, guys.
Sounds good. Thanks, Gary. Before we go, here's a look at a story in tomorrow's bulletin explaining one option to help you beat the property crisis. The Aussie backyard's growing an income.
We're renting from my parents. Great solution for us, great solution for them.
A boom in renovation loans.
We're expecting granny flat construction to take off this year.
Why it could be the easiest investment property you ever buy. 9 News, your news, tomorrow at 6.
That is 9 News Queensland for this evening. Ali Langdon is next with the current affair.
Thank you for your company from all of the team. Good night.